Hello everybody. Yeah, I've got about 17 minutes before I have to clock in to work, but I thought I'd do this live stream as I speak. Hopefully without any interruptions, stream interruptions, abrupt interruptions, weak connections. You get the point. But I thought I'd come on here and talk about the recent WWE news that has come out over the past week, if not over the past couple of hours. The past 24 hours, almost 24 hours to be exact. I mean, last night I didn't watch Raw, because I haven't had the urge to do so lately, but I guess maybe I should take a look at it once again to kind of get me in the mood for WrestleMania. And several things came out of Raw. First of all, it's been made official that we are going to get Ronda Rousey and Kurt Angle against Stephanie McMahon and Triple H in a mixed tag match at WrestleMania. Now, that's great and everything, and seeing Kurt and Ronda get the upper hand on Stephanie and Triple H last night was good. But here's something I don't think anybody's talking about. And I'm kind of surprised the Lex Man didn't talk about this. Maybe OTRS Central might talk about it. But I have this fear. That after letting Ronda and Kurt get the upper hand on them last night, that WWE is going to book Ronda's debut match at WrestleMania by having her possibly job to Stephanie. Hear me out. What better way to really get heat on someone like Stephanie that a lot of the fan base don't like than on the biggest stage of them all, have her pin Ronda Rousey in some fluke fashion. Like maybe something happens, Ronda gets knocked out, and Stephanie just falls on top of her, or gets put on top of her, or crawls on top of her, 1, 2, 3. I wouldn't put it past WWE to do that, because let's not forget, when Sting came on board, he was kind of dominant over the Authority. He kind of had their number, and it looked like, in a sense, that when he would face Triple H at WrestleMania, that he was going to win. But what happened? Triple H ended up going over Sting. That's what happened. Triple H ended up going over Sting. And a lot of people were not happy about that. I mean, true, there was a show of respect and everything and all that, but nobody really was happy with the end result. It's like you bring Sting in, and in his first official WrestleMania match, instead of doing the right thing and having him go over Triple H and basically give a major blow to the Authority, you have him put over Triple H. Why? Well, obvious reason is they let Sting get ahead, kind of get the best of them leading up to that time. So in a way, why not basically in return give the Authority the victory? In other words, make the Authority have a plan going into the match against Sting at WrestleMania that year. So yeah, that's what I kind of fear, and I know some others may fear the same thing. Thinking about it, you may fear the same thing, that Ronda, even though she's going to be a full-time competitor, that her first match officially in WWE at Mania could end up being a loss. Now that could really build more tension in her rivalry and feud with Stephanie McMahon. That could really help, there's no doubt. But do you think a lot of fans are expecting Ronda to be brought in to be just a job in her first match? No. They're not expecting that, but knowing WWE's past history, when they have the, what's the word? When they have the rod that, instead of striking when the rod is hot and doing the correct thing, they end up doing the wrong thing. And that is something that potentially could happen, because if they're allowing Ronda and Kurt to get the upper hand and on the Authority, you know, after the match is officially made, then that does bring a lot of suspicion into the fact that WWE may have the Authority go over Kurt and Ronda. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully they plan this out to where, you know, the tide turns back and forth. Like 1 week Ronda and Kurt get an advantage, then the Authority the next week gets the advantage. Kind of go back and forth, if you will, so that you can build a lot more intrigue and interest into the match. And in that way, going back and forth, you can actually make the public, make the fan base, make those that are going to be attending live wonder whether or not who's actually going to win. Because I know you're trying to protect Ronda. I know WWE's trying to protect Ronda. But the thing is, if they keep letting Ronda get the upper hand on Stephanie, and Stephanie doesn't get an upper hand on her sometime before WrestleMania, then you're pretty much, in the eyes of fans like me, setting up Ronda to lose in her debut match. And WWE doesn't need that to happen, because they don't need to be crapped on by having the biggest signing they've ever had to the company lose in her first match. And they know not a lot of people are looking for it, and they should know that a lot of people, not just fans, but everybody in the sporting world and the multimedia world, will crap upon them if they do that. So the best thing they need to do, and smells like someone had a lot of marijuana there. What they need to do is basically have Ronda and Kurt go over Stephanie and Triple H. That's what they need to do. Because again, the fear that I have as of last night, if they keep letting Ronda get the upper hand on Stephanie without her probably getting some, retaliation to build to the match, then you're pretty much, in the eyes of fans, setting up that, giving them that fear that you're setting up Ronda and Kurt to job the Authority at WrestleMania. And you don't need to do that. So hopefully WWE, makes the right call and they don't do that. But if they do, then you've pretty much crapped on, pretty much in the eyes of a lot of people, you pretty much crapped on probably, like I said, the biggest signing you've ever had, and potentially the new the new face of your women's division, in Ronda Rousey. You pretty much crapped upon her upon arrival, and it doesn't make sense, and it would make you look bad, and it would make the WWE look bad, because then anybody else what I'm trying to say is anybody else from outside of WWE that's considering getting into WWE may not want to get into it because of the fact that WWE may do the same thing to them. Sorry for the weak connection there. But again, they may not want to come into WWE knowing WWE potentially could do to them what they did to Ronda at WrestleMania. And that's the fear I get coming out of last night. But hopefully WWE does the right thing, like I said, and goes back and forth and at least lets the Authority get the upper hand once in a while over Ronda and Kurt to build to that match. Because you got to give, I hate to say this, you got to give the heels, in this case being Triple H and Stephanie, you got to give them the advantage. You got to give them a little bit of an edge going in. Remember, they're always supposed to remember they're the one Authority, the one heel group or faction that always has a plan. So you need to have them come up with a plan to kind of get ahead of Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey going into Mania. So hopefully WWE works on this and makes sure that whatever happens gives us more intrigue going into the match, gives us more interest and intrigue going into the match, and doesn't make it look obvious, at least in our opinion, from eyes like mine, make it look fearfully obvious that if they keep going the Ronda dominates over Stephanie and Triple H kind of route, that you're basically saying, hey, Ronda's going to job to Steph. So hopefully they don't do that. Hopefully they don't do that. But then again, you might say, well, the Authority got the upper hand somewhat last week. Right? So they got so Kurt and Ronda got an upper hand this week. And that's kind of true, but the match wasn't really officially made till last night. So you kind of, but I kind of would get and understand where people would point that out. But hopefully WWE does this to where at least if they do go back and forth, or if you do it correctly, and maybe in a sense and by doing it correctly, you make it seem more and more like the Authority might have the upper hand as we get closer, and then that's where, you know, you can allow at WrestleMania Kurt and Ronda to finally go over the Authority. But I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, because people have been waiting for Stephanie to get her comeuppance for quite some time, and this is the opportunity they've been wanting, and they're going to get it. Now, again, hopefully they don't screw it up. Now, the other thing that came out of last night, probably the other bigger news that came out of last night, is finally we are getting exactly what we've been hoping for since last year's WrestleMania, when Matt Hardy along with Jeff Hardy returned to WWE as surprise entrants in that Tag Team Championship match. That is, we're finally getting a broken Woken Universe style confrontation matchup, possibly at WrestleMania. We're not too sure. You know, we're not too sure just yet, but it sounds like it could take place at WrestleMania, because according to reports right now, if you want to believe them, the match is going to be filmed at Cameron, North Carolina, and be aired during WrestleMania. Now, I don't know how the fan base will react to that, but, you know, because WWE has to realize, hey, this is not, you know, they got to realize, hey, we're bigger than Impact Wrestling. We got a bigger fan base than TNA Impact Wrestling. And when Impact would show their Apocalypto, show the Broken Universe style confrontations matches of Apocalypto, Delete or Decay, Final Deletion, you know, stuff like that. Usually it'd be in front of a smaller audience. The audience would be watching on the screen from the Impact Zone or wherever they be at. Here you're talking about 70, 80,000 people having to look up at a big old Titantron screen, or look up to the Titantron screens above the ring just to see this event take place. Now, could it succeed? Could the people there be appreciative of it? Possibly, because it's something that, well, let's be honest, has never really been done at a place like WrestleMania. We've never had an actual match take place at WrestleMania that's not at WrestleMania. You know, and there has been proof, and there is proof in the past that when you show something on a big screen from another location during a big event, that people will stick around and watch it, because it's like, okay, this is part of the show, we need to watch it, see what happens. And if that's what they're doing with the Ultimate Deletion match, hopefully they do it in a way that's going to capture people's interest, because people are going to have to sit down and watch this on the big screen, on the big screens above the ring. If those screens get lowered, then that pretty much will help even more so. But they got to watch this whole thing on these big screens and on the Titantron, on the WrestleMania Titantron, on what takes place. Now, again, like I said, there has been proof in the past that this does work. However, the big difference was back during WrestleMania 1, 2, well, mostly WrestleMania 2 is a good example. Those were actual matches that took place in other venues, but people were compensated at the fact that, hey, you bought a ticket to WrestleMania, you're seeing WrestleMania, not just the matches you're seeing live and in person, but you're going to also see the matches from the other locations. So it may work in that so if it worked then, hey, it may still work now. I mean, let's be honest. A lot of people nowadays go to theaters thanks to Phantom events or something. thanks to people like Phantom Events or whoever, and watch live Broadway plays as they happen live from Broadway on the big screen. Some people go to a big theater or an IMAX theater to see a live UFC event. You know, they go to see a live UFC event or a live professional boxing match or what have you. They go to see it in the theaters or in an IMAX theater, and I don't know what it's like to do it that way, but obviously I've never heard any complaints, so obviously it works. So it seems that it works. What I'm looking at here, primarily, folks, is the fact that, you know, this is going to be done at WrestleMania, and a lot of people that have gone and attended WrestleManias throughout the year and constantly maybe do it on a yearly basis. You know, they go to one WrestleMania, then they go to the next WrestleMania, stuff like that. They may have never experienced something like this before until now. But you know what? If people can go to theaters and IMAX, can go to 3D theaters or IMAX theaters and watch, like I say, sporting events like UFC, sporting and entertainment events like live Broadway plays or UFC events or professional boxing matches or even Super Bowls or World Series, then maybe this might work in front of that live crowd at WrestleMania. Because hopefully if they do have Jeremy Borash behind this, because he's now part of WWE, he's given some tips to them about how it has to be filmed and how it has to be broadcast. In other words, when you go to the Hardy compound, you can't come back to the Superdome and show the reaction of people in the Superdome. No, you got to stay focused on the compound and on what's going on there. You got to make it feel like you're going from WrestleMania into this new environment, into this new realm, into this new world, if you will. So hopefully they do this Ultimate Deletion matchup, this whole Ultimate Deletion confrontation justice during WrestleMania, if that's when it's taking place. So hopefully they do it justice, and we'll just see what happens from there. Overall, that's pretty much the big news that's come out of WWE from last night. I mean, they are teasing John Cena probably wanted to be part of the AJ Styles Shinsuke Nakamura match, which I know Deluxe Man wasn't too thrilled to hear a possible teasing of that. We do know that Miz is defending the Intercontinental title as of right now in a triple. Sorry about that. I don't know when that interruption just happened, but anyway, the biggest news coming out of last night, you know, besides, like I said, the news of Miz defending his championship in a triple threat against Rollins and Balor, and potentially maybe even Strowman and Elias, according to some sources, if they're added to the match. As well as, you know, we also got news that John Cena's teasing the possibility that he could be part of the AJ Styles Shinsuke Nakamura WWE Championship match, which again, like I said, I know Deluxe Man didn't like to hear, but I think what WWE is doing with Cena right now is they're trying to throw out as many red herrings as they can, and so they make you think one thing, and then when you least expect it, that's when they're going to give you exactly what you expect. So, you know, so basically that's what it sounds like they're doing with Cena. But like I said, the two biggest news coming out of that last night was Ronda and Kurt. It's official, Ronda and Kurt Angle. Ronda Rousey and Kurt Angle are going to team against Stephanie and Triple H. And then, of course, we're finally going to see the WWE debut, potentially at WrestleMania, of the ultimate of a broken, Woken Universe style conflict between Bray Wyatt and Woken Matt Hardy at the Hardy compound. And like I said, hopefully they do it justice, and they realize it, and hopefully they do it justice, and they don't basically screw it up. You know, hopefully they don't screw it up or anything by going back to the Superdome while it's happening and see people's reactions. Hopefully JB can talk to them. Jeremy Borash, who's now part of the company, can talk to them and say, hey, look, you got to stay focused on this, because you're going from WrestleMania into basically, you're going from WWE territory into Broken Hardy territory. Basically, you're going into like another world, another realm, another universe, another reality. So hopefully they do it justice. But again, those are the only two big news items coming out of Raw last night, or out of WWE as far as I know, as of, you know, in the past 24 hours. So I just thought I'd give my live thoughts on them, kind of talk about them, discuss them, and hopefully you guys will take the time to watch this and give me your thoughts and replies as far as it concerns what was announced so far, the big news coming out of WWE over the past 24 hours. As far as WrestleMania is concerned, and as far as WWE is concerned, when it comes to finally debuting certain things that we've been wanting to see happen since certain individuals came around. So let me know what you guys think down below. Comment if you like. I got to get back to work. I'll talk to y'all later. Oh, I got Mike out there.